Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Appian World. Hope you had a great morning so far. We are going to start you off with a little game to make some of the other attendees a little curious as to what we're talking to here. You probably have all played this game before. We're going to say something. If it applies to you, you're going to stand up or remain standing. If it doesn't apply to you, you're going to stay seated or sit down, okay? Little post-lunch activity. Pete, do you think we should maybe warm them up a bit?
Yeah, let's try it out. Okay, please stand up if this is your first Appian World. All right,
Nice.
Excellent. Lots of them. Okay, stand up if you're wearing glasses, or sit down if you're not. Great, looks like we got the hang of it. How about stand up if you got a good night's sleep last night? Yeah, maybe too many people at the party. Okay, stand up if you traveled more than 2 hours to get here.
All right, Pete, I think we should give them a little bit of a break.
Sounds good.
All right, you can all sit down. But we are going to play the game for real now, just to get to know you a little better. So stand up if you are an Appian developer.
Okay,
All right, a little half and half.
Great.
Yes.
yeah, awesome. Okay, stand up if you have used a reporting tool before. It can be any kind of reporting tool.
Great.
Awesome.
All
Lots
right.
of people.
Yeah. So this session is about Data Fabric Insights, which released 2 quarters ago, and it was called Self-Service Analytics when it first debuted. So our last question for you is if you've tried Self-Service Analytics or Data Fabric Insights in the last 2 releases, stand up. Nice. Got a few pioneers in here, great. All right, well, all the content that we're going to share with you today is going to be fresh and interesting, so stay tuned. Everyone's sitting down, good.
Excellent, yeah. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. So today we're going to talk about self-service analytics or data fabric insights. And this is a new environment that we've added in Appian that empowers business users to be able to find insights about their data. Now, you've heard a lot about Data Fabric already from the keynote this morning and probably as you've been working with Appian. And this new tool is a great way to use the foundation and the power that you've already done with your Data Fabric in order to provide information to business users and to be able to self-service, to really explore your own data and find interesting insights without a developer needing to create any reports. So just to introduce ourselves, my name is Pete Lewis, and this is Lisa Graham.
Hello.
So we're excited to work with you today, and I'll pass it off to Lisa to get us started on our agenda.
Okay. So first, we're going to walk you through the capabilities of Data Fabric Insights so you know exactly what business users will have at their fingertips. Then we'll pivot and talk about the setup. What is the foundation that really supports this new experience? And lastly, we'll talk about the bigger picture within which Data Fabric Insights sits, which is Process HQ.
All right. Awesome. Well, let's get it started. And what I want to do today to get us started is just to jump right in. The great thing about this new feature is that it's something that is directly accessible to your business users if you've already established a data fabric. So in most cases, you don't need to do any additional work to get started. Your users can jump right in, start using it, and begin seeing the insights. And the way this will work is, this is actually a brand new environment. You saw this morning, Process HQ is a place where you can start to see information about both your data fabric and see insights on your process. And it's available as a new environment directly from the navigation menu here. And this applies across applications. So even if you already have a bunch of applications that exist, this new environment provides a new place that you can go to and find information out about your data fabric insights. And when you go to this environment, you're going to see a great place to be able to explore and understand the data that's available to you. You'll notice in this diagram that there's a number of different data sources that you can choose from. These are actually your record types. So if you're familiar with using record types as a developer, these are now exposed as data sets so that your users can browse and see information about each of these different data sets. The great thing is that these can come from different sources. So you'll notice just looking at the icons here, There's a number of different things that are being sourced from this. And we can also use some of the power of Data Fabric, like relationships. So you'll notice some of these sources also mention that you can pull back from related sources too. So it's a great way to be able to see a lot of information in one place. And of course, the data catalog here also makes it easy to browse, search, and filter on your data to find exactly what you need.
All right, so with that, let's go through an example of building our first report. In this case, I want to see a list of all of open orders that require executive approval. So building a report starts with field selection. Now, in this case, I've selected a data set from the prior page that Pete talked to you about. And on the left-hand side, you can see the list of fields that are within that record type along with the related record type fields as well. Selecting those fields brings them into that center pane area where you can preview the data right away. And with that, you can drag and drop your columns to reorder them into the order that you would like to see them in, right? With this, as Pete mentioned, you're inheriting a lot from your data fabric, including security. So if I have not been given permission to see certain rows of data in this data set, I still cannot see them here in Data Fabric Insights. Moving on, now I can actually filter, format, and remove fields that I don't want anymore. Filtering is as easy as either selecting from the column that you see in front of you and selecting Add Filter, or using that pane on the right to add a filter that you want. Filters can be combined with an and statement or an or statement to apply them to your data. You can also apply formatting really easy to that cost column by adding a $, decimals, thousands, placeholders, things like that. And lastly, once you have the data that you see fit, you can remove any columns that you don't want. So in this case, I filtered on that executive approval column, so now all the values are the same, so I can actually just remove that from my report. I don't need it anymore. The last thing I'll mention about this basic report is that I can either export it as the creator, or I can also decide if I want my users, who I'm eventually going to share this with, should have the permission to export this. So that's a design decision. Once you add that export button, all your filtering and your formatting will carry into that export as well. All right, moving on. So I'm now going to take my data and summarize it. So here I'm showing a quick example of how you can group your data. Here is a group by month on the date. You can also perform calculations on your data. Sum, average, min, max, things like that are already in there for you. And lastly, you can sort the data to prioritize these orders by priority in this case. There's more. So you could also see on that right pane a bunch of different design choices that you can select. There's pie chart. Oh, let me actually show you that video. So there's a pie chart. You can choose from a donut style or the pie style. You can select which fields in that grid that you've already configured and set up should display in these different designs. You can choose different stacking options for your bar chart, column chart, area charts. You can overlay multiple fields into these designs. Wait for it to catch up. At the bottom on the right pane, you can also change your color theme that is applied to the design choice. So if you want to match a certain presentation brand, your customer's brand, your internal brand, you can try to get close to that by selecting one of the color choices that are available to you there as well. Chart download is also an optional configuration feature that you see there. And this is a peek at our KPI, which you'll see in a minute, looks really nice at the top of a dashboard. All right, but there's more ways to build a report. I just showed you a way to craft it from scratch, right from that data catalog. But we also have a guided experience for you. Let's take a look at that. In this case, also from the data catalog, there's another tab called Guided Experience. With this, you can type out the report that you're trying to get to, and we will generate, with the knowledge that you're giving the input here, the best visualization possible with that given data. So it starts out as a basic grid in this case, where you can pull in the fields that you want by typing. The auto suggest is really helpful to kind of keep you moving along that path. But here, you can see with one field, I'm showing a KPI. And the more fields that I'm adding, the chart actually dynamically changes to show it in the best way possible. So you kind of end with that bar chart. If you think you've got a good start, by clicking Create Report, launches you back into that report builder, where you can finish off any other details that you may want. So this is just a quick way to jumpstart your report creation. Once you've saved your reports, they come back to the home page, which it marries the data insights that we're talking about today, as well as some process insights that they're talking about over there, and you probably heard about in Process HQ. The reports and dashboards that you're saving are stored on the bottom there, and your recently opened are also shown for easy access. I got one more thing to talk to you about, and that's dashboards. So from that home page, you can click Create Dashboard. You have access to all the reports that you've created, as well as those that have been shared with you. And through an easy drag and drop interface, you can bring those reports right onto screen to build the dashboard to tell a complete story of whatever topic you want. Again, in this case, it had to do with orders. Once they're on that screen, you can rearrange them with drag and drop as well and remove things. You can even launch those individual reports back open again, all from the dashboard builder. And again, once that dashboard is saved, it's right back on the home page for easy access.
Great, thanks, Lisa. So Lisa has showed a lot of different ways that we're able to build reports and dashboards based on our data. I want to show you some ways that we can start using it. And one of the best ways to do this is by sharing these. So by default, when you create a new report or dashboard, it's visible to you. But if you want to, and I'll start this video, you can also share this with other users. So if you go back to the home page, select any objects that you've created and click Share. You can then decide this to share with other users as well. Now remember that it will depend on the security you have set up within your data fabric. So if you have certain data sets that aren't visible to everyone, they won't be able to see it. But now you see when I've logged in instead, that now I can see the report and dashboard that was just shared to me by Lisa. So it's a quick way to be able to access information that your colleagues have shared with you and share the insights that you've created yourself. So it's really easy to be able to do this and to incorporate other users within this as well. All right. In addition to being able to share, another thing that users are able to use is the AI Copilot. Now again, this is something that I'm sure you've seen throughout other Appian demos or within the keynote this morning, but the Copilot also gives us insights into what's happening within our reports and dashboards. And you can actually ask the AI Copilot questions that you want to know about your data. So again, let me show the video here. I'm going back to the dashboard that we just designed, and I want to drill into this report on all open orders, and I can ask it a question. So there's a few questions that we give by default, if you want to start with those, such as what are the insights and actions I can take based on this report? And you'll see it quickly tells me information about the data I have here. So for instance, the orders in February, March, and April there's a lot of orders with the status in transit. So I might want to see why it's taking so long for those orders to be completed. Of course, if you want to ask different questions, you can also ask those at the bottom of the screen, and the AI Copilot will answer questions based on the data you've defined in your report. Another thing that I want to show is the ability to take action. And this is really where we bring everything together based on what you've defined within your data fabric, because now you can take action, start workflows, and complete work related to the data that you've added to your reports. All right, so again, let's take a look at a video here. And you'll see that we have this dashboard that we've created that has a number of our orders, and there's a bunch of critical priority orders. And in particular, I noticed that one of these is backordered. So I might want to say, well, let's flag this for follow-up and to see why is this backordered? Can we expedite it or change something about this? So I'll take this action, it will start a process, and then now, as my other user, I'm able to take a look at this and really investigate what's going on here. You'll see the data updated immediately, and now I have this task within my other site where I can go and review this flagged order. So it's a great way to go from insights to action, where you can find information that is interesting based on exploring your data fabric, and then incorporating your workflows or other processes to actually take that action. One other part of this is the ability to add links. So in some cases, maybe the action that I want to take is to drill down and see more information. So what you can do is you can add a link to any of your reports where you can show information about the detailed view for that record. So it's kind of looping here, but you can see I've added in that link directly in my report. It links me over to the dashboard that I've already created that has a lot more detailed information about this, and I can continue to browse there. I can drill to other related records or even take actions from that page. So our goal is always to use the existing foundation that you've done with your data fabric to make it easy to drill in and find relevant insights and hopefully find things that you can improve or change about your application. All right. Oop. Sorry, go ahead, Lisa.
No, it's all right. All right, so we saw all of those wonderful features that will be in our very next release, 24.2. But I'm sure you're wondering, great, it looks like a lot of things that I need to redo. How do I get those actions in there? Who's controlling that? Great news. It all builds off of the data fabric foundation that's been laid down as a part of your normal application development. So the setup, there's very little additional lift. And as someone who's also used a lot of different reporting tools in my career, that's my favorite part about Data Fabric Insights, is you kind of get most of it for free. So it starts with data fabric. I know it's a key term you've heard a lot about, but again, just to reiterate, data fabric is this unified data architecture that connects data from all sorts of source systems for you. With that, as Pete mentioned earlier, those record types, those synced record types specifically, along with their related record types, surface as data sets for end users in Data Fabric Insights. Now, again, very easy. Any record type object security that has been configured, again, is applied here. So if they don't have access to that record information in their application, they will not have access to that information in Data Fabric Insights as well. So again, you're going to do your data model, you're going to relate your information. You could also add custom fields as a part of your application development, and they too are going to carry forward in that field selection pane that we saw earlier. And again, I mentioned the security all the way down to row level security, related action security is all still applied.
Yeah, and really the key that we're doing here is that when you're building your data fabric, you're going to be supporting lots of things. Like Lisa mentioned, you're able to support Data Fabric Insights or modeling the data, but it's also helping you to accelerate how fast you're able to build applications. So take a look at this dashboard here. You can see that there's a number of different components on this page where it has some charts, some grids, even just some relevant event activities. Well, really everything that you see here is related to your data fabric. And each of these are represented by records and things that we would want to use within our application. The great thing is that as you start to model your data in your data fabric, once you've done that, it makes it even easier to add in all the components you see here. So we have a number of components that are specifically designed to support the data that you have set up. So you can add in a quick KPI, you can add in a grid, you can add a chart, or even actions or events. All of these things are based on what you've defined already within your data fabric. So it enables you to build your applications even more quickly. Now, one important thing is security as well. So in the last slide, you probably noticed that we were pulling in all of that additional information. If you've set any security on the record type itself, then that security is going to apply both in those dashboards and Data Fabric Insights as well. However, if there's any additional setup that we want to do specific to support Data Fabric Insights, we can do that too. So for instance, I can curate which objects are available in my list of data sets. So if there's some scenarios where I have some data sets that I don't want people to report on, or maybe it just isn't relevant data, then I can hide those and make sure that my users aren't going to be able to access those. You can also provide additional detail through a data dictionary. So if I want to name certain fields or add descriptions to make it more clear on what my users are looking at within Data Fabric Insights, I can do that to make sure it's going to be even easier for them to use it. Now, all this together leads to the foundation of our data fabric. And this has been a multi-year effort that we've been working on at Appian because it's such a foundational part of building your applications. So you'll notice we've got 3 separate things in here: the fast to build, fast to run, and fast to insights. When we were first building out our data fabric, we really were focusing on the first 2 of these items. We wanted to make it easy to be able to model your data and set up your applications. And we wanted to make sure that once you're actually using your data, if you're pulling data from these different sources, you can ensure that you're going to have good performance. And you won't need to do any manual performance tuning or other performance testing. But the great thing is that once we've established these 2, that's where we can get the benefits of the Data Fabric Insights too. And as you can see, we don't have to do any additional work in order for our end users to start using this within Process HQ.
All right, so now we're going to zoom back out. So you saw the behind the scenes, which really, if you're putting it together by this point, you can see how there's a lot of application development that's already being done from which Data Fabric Insights sits on top of. So as a developer, you should be getting a lot of time back from any reporting requests that you're spending time on, churning on. This really enables your end users to really harness the data and the views that they want on their own. All right, but we are going to zoom back out to the bigger picture of Process HQ. We mentioned that earlier on. Again, you've seen it around. Process HQ is the marriage of data insight and process insight. And you saw the processes sitting at the top of the homepage there earlier. With Process HQ and the marriage of the 2, your self-service end user workspace allows business users to find these insights themselves. Process Insights harnesses the power of AI to dive deep into the processes that are happening in real time in action to uncover insights for users and hopefully identify areas of improvement as well as cost saving. Lastly, just like Data Fabric Insights sits on top of your data fabric, so does Process Insights. It leverages data from in Appian as well as external systems, but it also relies on event data. You can bring your own event data, or you can set it up using our out-of-the-box record events section within our record type designer as well. So it's very flexible and easy to get going.
Awesome. So just to summarize here, Process HQ is such a major innovation for us and something that we've been working on for a really long time. And like Lisa said, our goal is really to bring together 2 major parts of the Appian platform, the data fabric and workflows and insights, and be able to give that information directly to your users, right? As a platform, we want to make it easy to develop applications, and we've had a lot of innovations over the years to support that. But with Process HQ, we're now giving users this information directly, right? We don't need to create anything special for them or have designers go through and develop their applications. Our users can actually go to this environment themselves. They can explore, find the insights themselves, and hopefully try to improve this over time, right? And that really brings us back to the full cycle here, where we're able to quickly design, set up our data fabric that's useful and easy to use for our users. We can automate some of the activities and investigate to see what's going on with those activities, and hopefully improve it over time. Like we've said, change is constant, so we want to try and identify ways that we can get ahead of the change and identify ways to improve this over time. All right, so thank you all so much for attending this session today. We hope you've enjoyed this, and we hope you're excited as we are about Process HQ. And at this point, what I would recommend for you is to give it a shot. So check out the community edition yourself. You'll be able to take a look at Process HQ, try it out, see the kinds of insights that you can create in there, and get a sense for all the power that's available directly from this system. I also want to highlight there's several other sessions going on, both about Data Fabric and about Process Insights. So there's actually a couple of additional sessions today on Data Fabric, one on Data Fabric design with Axiom Space, and another on modernizing your app with Data Fabric. There's also a couple of sessions later today on Process HQ. So hearing about Process HQ case studies and hearing how to do continuous improvement with Process HQ as well. So definitely check out those sessions since it is such a new and exciting part of our platform. And then lastly, if you've enjoyed this, or even if you didn't, feel free to rate this session and give us some feedback. We are always hoping to improve, and we really hope you've enjoyed this session. So, and then lastly, we have a quick QR code where you can share your experience here as well. So thanks, everyone.